How does indexing work on Amazon? And how many sales do you need to start showing up on page one? My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and I'm probably one of the world's leading experts on Amazon SEO. So in this video, I'm going to walk through some of my journey with some of my own products and how they got on the map. This is one of my most successful product launches I've ever done, my Mom Box. 2 years ago, I sold over $144,000 in 30 days. Didn't even have more than a single product review at the time, and I only spent $11,000 on PPC. Here's how I did it. I wrote a bunch of content. I tested the main photo, ran multiple tests, wrote lots and lots of keyword heavy copy. Product filled the title, keyword stuff, the bullet points, had brand stories didn't even exist at that point, but we've got one now. And then I made large A+ content with lots of crawlable text. So those are the winning equations. And of course, the photos here, you got to have alt text. So you've got keywords behind each and every single photo. So those are all important things we know affect SEO. And I have a huge masterclass that explains all of those technical elements. Watch that next. But in this video, I just want to showcase something really cool. So this is basically a BSR tracker. There are several tools out there that you could do to use this. One of my favorite is Helium 10. It's a Chrome extension. You can load it here. And I've hit the all-time button. So what I am going to point out here is that the product is very cyclical. You'll see big spikes, and it's like golf, so the lower BSR, the better. And you'll see here that the best that this product ever did was in the first 30 days. I got it all the way up to the top 600, 700 BSR in beauty, which is kind of a big deal because the way BSR works, the higher up in the BSR or the lower the number, the more exponential sales that you have. So if you think about it, I sold, I don't know, roughly 1,500 units in first 30 days. And to do that, I had to top out right around 700 BSR. Now, the BSR at 50,000 might only be turning, a unit a day, right? It could be a very big difference depending on the category you're in. Some other categories, 50,000 BSR might be, 3 to 5 units a day, but still nothing compared to moving hundreds of units when you're in the top 1,000 or even thousands of units a day if you're in the top, couple hundred. So exponential growth as BSR progresses. So with that in mind, as we look at this chart here, you'll see even a blank BSR had some catalog issues right there. Sometimes that means there's a stock out. We moved the price up and down quite a bit over the years. And this product never did do as well the second or the third year as it did in the first. So that can happen. Economy, gift giving, a little bit weaker nowadays than it was back then. One of my favorite categories. But during a weaker economy or a hyperinflation, those $40 gifts become $20 gifts, if you know what I mean. All right, so the case study here is really in that first launch, right? So it got its first sale on April 28th. We came out the gate pretty strong. Sales ranked 33,000, right? And within, you see the dates here moving, 428, and then by the time 5/1 hit, I'd already broke the top 9,000. And so as we continue on, we get into the top 700, 800 by the end of the first week in May. So here is living proof that all you have to do to be successful on Amazon is do the basics. SEO, PPC, those are your traffic generators, design and catalog for your conversion elements. They all go together, they all rise together. And as a full service agency at My Amazon Guy, I like to focus on those 4 basics. I ran 0 external traffic to gain these results. Within 2 weeks, I had indexed for 4,000 keywords. And this is obviously a best case scenario. But what I want to talk about is how many cells do you need to index for 1,000 keywords? So from my experience, if you simply build out the A+ content and you get 5 sales, you should be able to index for 100 keywords. Results will vary, but by and large, I think within a bell curve, you'll have within 20 keywords index either direction if you get 5 sales of that 100 mark. Now, to get to 1,000 keywords indexed, you're going to need to typically produce a minimum of 100 sales. So it gets significantly harder to go up on the indexing to generate those sales. And those 100 orders, generally speaking, need to come within a 60-day window. Now, to get to 2,000 keywords indexed, more likely than not, you're going to have to generate 400 sales. And instead of in a 60-day window, it's going to be more like a 30-day window. Now, results can vary, category dependent, and obviously the number of keywords you index for is only part of the equation. So when I talk about keyword indexing, I like to use the Cerebro tool inside of Helium 10. And here, so this is my current listing. I am currently indexed for 2,300 keywords. And I like to point out that I'm doing worse today than I was 2.5 years ago. So even after you gain some of the indexing, you can lose some of your momentum. It can go away. So you have to maintain the sales, right? So in the last 30 days, we've only sold like $40,000 in sales, and it's a lot weaker than it was 2.5 years ago. So product life cycle, that's another debate. But in any case, 2,304 keywords indexed is still pretty solid, right? Like an average listing on Amazon in the top 50 BSR, 50,000 BSR should be indexing for around 2,000 keywords. That's in a pretty good shape. If your product doesn't index for at least 1,000 keywords, as it shows in this keyword distribution right there in the middle of this chart, then you're going to have a failure to launch. You're never going to be a mainstream product on Amazon. You might be okay with that, but depending on your goal, if you want to go mainstream, you're probably watching this video to try and increase your sales and your indexing. So the other thing we need to define here is the difference between indexing and ranking. Indexing is showing up in the top 300 results for any keywords. So if we wanted to look and say, hey, what is a keyword that I rank really well on versus a keyword I don't rank as well on, we could look at the columns available to us. So I'll scroll to the far right here. So on the very far right, we have organic rank. So soap gift basket, I'm ranked number 1 on that. That's pretty cool. However, 55 monthly search volume. So not a big deal, actually. Mom box, 417. I'm doing pretty good on that. Organic rank 3. Now, if I were to click this button right here and then show the opposite rank, I'm indexed at organic rank 316. And normally we usually see these break right around 300. So 316, still within that kind of top 300. I've got a Spanish keyword, Regalos para el dia de las madres. And so I am a firm believer in Spanish keywords. You should absolutely put a Spanish set of alt text behind one of the photos on your listing. So for example, you could put Spanish alt text behind one random photo, such as this one, and stuff it in there. And then you will index for Spanish within 48 hours, proving A+ content indexes. So in any case, this is indexing, but not producing sales for me, right? Like if we're in position 316, that is not very meaningful. It is directional, however. So that's what I mean by indexing, showing up in the top 300 results like this. Now, to rank the product, to show up in the top 50 results, or even the top 5 or 10 results, it's significantly harder. And to do that, you are probably going to have to produce a minimum of 20 sales in 30 days on most keywords. Now, some keywords, the harder they get, right? If we were to sort this by search volume, so let's do that next here. Random words that we're going to see on screen here, but let's go with the highest one that makes sense that I'm actually ranking on. So Sage. So this search volume, 47,000. I'm in index slot 200, and I bet you I'm getting probably 3 to 5 sales a month on that to be in position 200, something like that. Gifts for Mom. This was a keyword I actually got all the way to organic position number 1 going into Mother's Day in 2021. That was my biggest win. Search volume right now, 28,000. But if you look at the cycle and the trend lines here, it goes all the way up to 1.6 million during Christmas. Get another nice Mother's Day bump at 324,000. But nobody cares about mom in June here. It's all the way down at 28,000. I know that's a little off screen for you. But you get the idea. The point is, depending on the search volume can affect how many sales you need to actually rank on the product. But to index on the product, you generally only need to show some text on the listing. If you don't generate any sales on that word over the course of, say, 90 days, you run the risk of de-indexing, and you'll never rank on a keyword if you can't generate sales on it. So step one in our SEO process, put the copy, put the keyword on the listing. So, if I wanted mom feel special gift basket, if that was my keyword targets, putting it in the title, that's going to give me a pretty good shot of indexing. You can index off of putting the keyword anywhere on the listing. And believe it or not, if somebody asks a question like, where is this box set made? Or where can I get more Age of Sage soap and lotion? No, that's not a planted question. But if you get a question and answer the question, that can also index a keyword. And sometimes if you have a keyword that would cause your listing to be banned, if it was in the A+ content, right? For example, if you're selling hemp, you couldn't put the letter CBD anywhere. But if you sneak it into a customer question, planted or otherwise, or you just answered a question innocently, you could get the product to index by putting the keyword there. There are many other experts that will attest to this. You can test it yourself as well. So we know that putting the content on the listing will index it. And I've given you kind of some barometers for how many sales you need in general to index it and maintain, and then also now to rank it. So that's kind of the trajectory with that. Now, a lot of you have considered doing giveaways for your products. I don't personally do that on my products because I like to run the basics to try and win. And I'm not a big fan of it. But if you are, you can use like a Cerebro IQ score or look at some of the trend lines to figure out whether it makes sense. Now, if we look at the CPR column, this is the estimated number of units that need to be sold over 8 days, resulting from a search for this keyword in order for the product to rank on the top half of page 1. This is an interesting concept because this can also answer our key question of the video, right? So if I wanted to be ranking in the top 50 for body lotion, according to the CPR data here, I need to sell 103 units over 8 days. That is significant, right? Really significant. So some keywords are going to be easier than others. And we had previously sorted this based on some search volumes right here. So you're going to see this fluctuate, but as we scroll down, in theory, predominantly we'll see that CPR number go down. So if you're trying to figure out where your best effort should be spent, you're probably going to find a band of search volume and look at the CPR data. So let's say we're going to focus in on anything between 5,000 and 2,000 search volume. We then look at the CPR column and say, cool, we're going to look for whatever has the lowest CPR within our bands. And so if we were analyzing this data, we're between 330 CPR and 28. And there's not a lot of difference in the data here. So it doesn't matter which keyword we choose. Pretty much the same answer. We're going to need to sell at least 28 units over an 8-day period. Now, one of the best ways to do this is simply spend money on sponsored products. So birthday gifts for mom, if we just go to town on that keyword and spend, I don't know, $1,000 over 8 days on a single keyword, we're going to probably pick up those 28 sales in an 8-day time period, resulting in an organic rank of the top 30. So that's the equation, that's the math. And you can use tools like Helium 10 Cerebro to pull this off and to run it on a very specific keyword. You can also use it to get kind of some generic indexing guidelines by looking at the keyword distribution here And by the way, I like to use a golden ratio typically. Now, this is a seasonal product. Seasonal products, this doesn't apply to. But by and large, non-seasonal products, I like to see 1 sponsored keyword for every 2 organic. And if you maintain that ratio, you'll be in pretty good shape. If you want to get 20% off Helium 10, go over to myamazonguy.com/H10, and you can click on this link right there. That'll get you 20% off for 6 months over at Helium 10. I do get a burrito when you do this. Thank you in advance. I am an affiliate of Helium 10. It is currently still the best keyword tool on the market, and I use this with all 317 employees at My Amazon Guy. So I typically don't endorse products like this unless I'm a practitioner of them. And I have to say, this is still the best keyword tool on the market. Thanks for watching. Check out my master guide on SEO next.